Animals rely heavily on their senses to survive in this world, and cats are no different. It's extremely important for cats to live in an environment that smells like them because it gives them a sense of security and comfort. And you can often see cats rubbing their faces against the walls or furniture, and they often scratch things, and they do that because they have friendly pheromones located at their paw pads and their cheeks. And they rub their cheeks and scratch different objects because they want to spread their scent and around their environment where they live. So every object they rub with their head or scratch essentially starts smelling like them. And we of course cannot smell it because our sense of smell is very different than cats. And cats' sense of smell is 14 times stronger than ours. Oftentimes, we don't realize that some scents that we have in our house that we find very pleasant, they might actually be very aversive and way too strong for our cats. And some scents can actually be very toxic for them. So how do we make sure that we do not overwhelm our cat senses? And how do we make sure that our cats feel comfortable in our homes? Stay with me and you'll find out. Hi friends, welcome to Cats of Sunshine. My name is Vanya. I'm a cat behavior specialist, a holistic cat wellness coach, and animal Reiki practitioner. And today we will be talking about respecting your cat senses. And this video is part 5 of my Enrichment for Cats series. We already talked about creating safe space for your cat, about their basic needs and key resources, about importance of playtime and positive interactions. And today we will be focusing on understanding our cat senses and making sure that they feel good in our homes. In today's video, we will be mostly talking about a cat's sense of smell because I feel like this one is often misunderstood and is suffering the most. But we'll also talk about other 4 senses that are hearing, vision, touch, and taste. Let's talk about a cat's sense of smell. How's it different from ours? Cats have more receptors than people. Cats have around 200 million olfactory receptors in their nose, while humans only have about 5 million. Scent identification. Cats can easily distinguish between different smells and identify people, other animals, and objects primarily through scent. Vomeronasal organ. Cats have a very special scent organ called Jacobson's organ or vomeronasal organ at the top inside of their mouth that helps them detect pheromones. That's why sometimes you can see your cat smelling an object, especially if that object smells like another animal or another person. They will smell the object and then open their mouth a little bit just for a few seconds, and this is how you know that they're using their Jacobson's organ, and this process is called a Flehmen response. It's very important to be aware of these differences and these peculiarities because things like scented litter, candles, air freshener, laundry detergent, smells of other animals on you, or other unfamiliar scents in your house like new furniture or other people, all these things can be very upsetting, uncomfortable, and even disturbing for your cat. Now, as we determine how special and sensitive a cat's sense of smell is, let's think about what we can do to make cats more comfortable in our homes. Number 1, avoid scented litter. This is a huge one, and I would say this is the most important rule to follow. And if you think about it, why are there scented litters on the market in the first place? It's because cat boxes smell, and I get it. But instead of masking the smell, wouldn't it just be easier to clean it up more often? Honestly, I feel like it doesn't take much time or energy to scoop the litter box. It might be a different story if you have like 10 or 15 boxes. If you have that many cats, that's a totally different story. But if you have 1 or 2 or 3 cats and you have 1 or 2 or 3 litter boxes, wouldn't it just be easier, or I would say more logical, to just clean them more often instead of using the scented litter? That can be very aversive to your cat, and it can actually cause some health issues and potentially can cause a litter box aversion that we definitely don't want to have. And I get it, it's more convenient, more easy if you just have a scented litter that doesn't smell very much, so you don't have to clean that often. But truthfully, it just makes more sense to clean the box if it's dirty, because even if you cannot smell it, there's still a lot of urine or feces in the box. So your cat still has to go inside. Even if you don't smell it, your cat still has to go to that dirty, awful litter box and do their business. And I feel it's even like double trouble if you have like a covered box and scented litter, because there's no air circulation and your cat has to go inside. There's no air circulation, there's a scented litter, they try to dig it, the dust comes up, and I feel like, I don't know, I just feel really, really bad for cats who have to do that. So I just beg you, please, please, please don't use scented litter. Do it for your kitty. I promise you they will really appreciate it, and you will have a happier kitty, and you will avoid potential health issues and potential litter box aversion. So I think it's a win-win. We want our cats to feel good and safe and comfortable in their litter boxes. Otherwise, they'll just go find a better and better smelling location to do their business. And by the way, some natural litters are better than others in covering smells naturally. So I would just try to read reviews, look around, play around with different litters, maybe ask your cat-loving friends or other cat parents what they use, and just try to see what will work for you. Number 2, avoid using products with strong or aversive scents. These strong scents can disturb your cat's sense of safe and familiar environment. And we're talking about things like scented candles, incense, any kind of air fresheners or essential oil diffusers, and we'll talk more about them a bit later. Heavily scented laundry detergent or fabric softener, household cleaning products, strong perfume. Well, you got the idea. And some of the scents can actually be toxic to cats. And if you want to add some nice scent to your home naturally, I would recommend just try to find some soft and gentle scents and try to open your window more often. I know you can always do that, especially if it's cold, but just do your best. And I think clean air is better than heavily scented air. There are so many articles about cats and essential oils, and most of them they talk about how toxic they are for cats, and rightly so. But not everything is black and white. This is a very extensive topic, and I just wanted to share with you 2 articles with 2 different point of views, and I feel like both of them sort of give like a better, clearer picture of what's going on and whether or not essential oils are toxic for cats. So one of them is from a veterinarian in clinical toxicology, and the other article is from a holistic cat therapist, Julianne, from Naturally Cats, whom I respect very much. I'll just summarize both of these articles, but I invite you to read them if you're interested in this topic and if you're using essential oils. The articles are not very long, they're very easy to read, very easy to understand, so I highly recommend reading them. So, are essential oils toxic to cats? Yes, but mostly when they're used incorrectly or overused, when they're forced on cats either topically or through inhaling. And yes, inhaling essential oils can cause severe irritation and adverse reactions. And why are essential oils toxic to cats? Cats lack an essential enzyme in their liver and as such have difficulty metabolizing and eliminating certain toxins like essential oils. Cats are also very sensitive to phenols and phenolic compounds, which can be found in some essential oils. The higher the concentration of the essential oil, the greater the risk to the cat. Like Julianne said, essential oils are highly concentrated and cats are highly sensitive, so it's a perfect storm when used incorrectly. So basically, if you burn essential oils just to make your house smell nice, or if you apply essential oils or products with essential oils on your cat, either topically or orally, without a definite necessity, I think that can cause problems. But if you're following all precautions, if you've done your thorough research, if you know what you're doing, and most importantly, if you allow your cat to choose whether or not they want to interact with the specific essential oil, that's a whole different story. So the goal is to give them a choice. As I said, it's an extensive topic, and if you have a cat, please read those articles that I mentioned, and I will make sure to add links to both articles in the description below, or you can do your own research and decide for yourself if or when you want to use essential oils, or maybe you will decide to stop using them completely like we did. Number 3, be aware of foreign smells that enter your home. I always suggest taking off your shoes when you're coming back home and placing your shopping bags by the exit door to make sure you don't introduce any foreign scents or possibly some diseases from other animals in your environment. And I personally like to just change my clothes right away after I get back home because it sort of makes me feel more comfy and cozy.
Yeah, yeah.
Number 4, avoid cleaning areas that have been facially marked by your cat. If your cat likes to rub over certain furnitures or over certain walls in your home, please don't clean them, just let them be. And if they get too gross, you can clean 1 or 2 areas once in a while, but just don't clean all of the areas at the same time because your cat will just be in shock and they will be trying to mark those areas again in panic. And they do that because this is how they mark their territory in a positive way through the pheromones that they have on their cheeks and their paw pads. And essentially it's important for them because their environment starts smelling like them, they feel like home, so don't take that away from them. Number 5, open windows frequently. This way you will allow your cat to breathe in some fresh air, to get the information from the outside world, and if they're lucky, they can even hear a bird song. Number 6, make a cat herb garden. You can grow your own herbs that are safe for cats, like catnip, oat or wheatgrass, valerian, catmint, lemongrass, lemon balm, rosemary, etc. And I'll add a link to an article about creating a cat-friendly herb garden. And if you don't want to, or if you can't grow your own herbs, you can just use the dried version of those herbs and create a dry herb cat garden for your cat. And it basically looks like that. You can take a little blanket and offer your cat maybe 2 or 3 different herbs. It can be catnip, maybe valerian, and maybe chamomile, and just put them on different edges of the blanket and allow your cat to choose which herb they want to interact with. I really like this book called The Aromatic Cat, written by Nayana Morag and Julianne Thorne from Naturally Cats. I mentioned her before. And this book talks a lot about self-selection, which basically means that animals, they intuitively know which herbs they need and when, and they sort of select the herb that their body needs at that specific moment. And I think generally, if you're into herbs and cats, this will be a great book for you to read because they talk about herbs, hydrosols, essential oils. So yeah, I really love this book. Now let's talk about hearing. A cat's hearing is also very sensitive and very different from ours. The cat's outer ear is connected by 27 muscles and it can rotate 180 degrees to scan the environment or to direct attention to a particular sound. Cats can detect higher frequencies than dogs. That's why using your baby voice when you talk to them is so good. Cats can also determine where the sound is coming from by sensing differences in the time of the arrival and the intensity of the sound received by the 2 ears. Cats won't distinguish a person's questioning tone versus a statement. Generally, it's a good idea to minimize loud noises when possible and to make sure that your cat has safe zones around the house where they can retreat to when things get busy, when you have guests, or if you have a party, or maybe if there's fireworks going on outside. There's this cool music that I discovered through my teachers at the Animal Behavior Institute, and it was developed by David Teyer. David believes that every species has an intuitive biological response to sounds based on their brain development and vocalization. So he composes music for cats by incorporating feline-centric sounds. For example, he uses a sound like the suckling for milk in place of the pulse in the music he created for cats. This music is really beautiful even for us, so I highly recommend checking it out. You can also soothe your cat by playing them some nature sounds or maybe classical music or bird songs, because sound enrichment is very important for cats, just like it's important for us. A cat's vision is pretty unique. Let's see how and what we can do to respect these peculiarities. Cats have ability to adapt to low light conditions. Their low light vision is enhanced by an additional 40% by the tapetum lucidum, which lies behind the retina. It allows light to be reflected back through the retina, which makes their eyes shine or glow in the dark. But cats can't see any better than humans in total darkness. So it's a good idea to leave some night light on for your cats so that they can move more comfortably at night. Cats have bipolar vision and good depth perception, but detecting slow movement is hard for them. So when you play with them, make sure that you move that toy fast. They are slower to transfer focus from near to distant objects and vice versa. Also keep that in mind while playing with them. Outdoor cats tend to be slightly long-sighted, while indoor cats slightly short-sighted. Cats can't focus on an object closer than 25 centimeters or 10 inches, and moving objects are better for them to see than stationary ones. And again, great tip for playtime. Just make sure you don't put your cat's toys too close to them because they simply will not see it. Cats are dichromatic and can see two colors, blue and green, and they cannot see red. That's why picking cat toys and other cat objects in blue and green is best. Color is less important than movement, pattern, and brightness. Now let's talk about cat's taste. Is it different and unique as well? A cat's sense of taste is weaker compared to humans. Humans have 9,000 taste buds, and cats only have 473. They make up for this deficiency with a superior sense of smell, so their most powerful response to food is through smell, not taste. This is why heating up their food to boost up the smell could be a good trick, especially for a picky eater. Kittens learn about their food from their mom. They develop a safe database of safe items that all future foods will be checked for. Food that is being fed to a kitten will determine their food choices as adults. Feline food preferences develop early and they're strongly imprinted and hard to change later. That's why if you're adopting a kitten, it's very important to offer them a variety of foods and textures, like fresh home-cooked meals, raw food, dry food, canned food, shreds versus pate, and this will help to prevent a picky eater. Let's talk about a cat's sense of touch now. Some cats enjoy touch while others not so much, and of course a lot has to do with their personalities, but a lot of it also coming from their childhood experience. Touch is a primary source of affection for cats from birth. When kittens interact with their siblings and their mom, touch plays a great role as they groom each other and cuddle together when they're napping and sleeping. Cats have vibrissae. It's an extremely sensitive form of hair set deep in skin. They are attached to highly sensitive neurons. This allows to feel objects, allows to detect changes in air currents, air pressure, temperature, and wind direction, and they help navigate in complete darkness. These specialized hairs are most noticeable on the cheeks. We're basically talking about the cat's whiskers, but they can also be found on their chin, above their eyes, and on the back of the front legs. Cat's whiskers are as wide as the cat's body, allowing the cat to know immediately if an opening is wide enough for the body to pass through easily. If these whiskers fit, the cat will fit. The more contact you have with the cat when they're young, the more likely they'll enjoy human contact when older. But a lot has to do with their personality. Some cats just enjoy more interaction with people and other animals than others, and they will always let you know when they've had enough. Just pay attention to their body language. I think we covered everything. So, do you feel like you understand your kitty a little bit better now? I hope so. The goal of my videos is to help you understand and get to know your fur baby better. And if there's any other topics that you'd like me to talk about, please leave a comment down below. And if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel to see my future videos. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon. Bye!